Your body treats visceral fat like emergency survival fuel. That's why it fights so hard to keep it alive. Not the fat under your skin. Not the soft fat you can grab with your hands. The deep fat, the dangerous fat, the fat wrapped around your organs like biological armor. And the terrifying part? Most people don't even know it's there until their body starts collapsing from the inside out. Because visceral fat doesn't just sit there. It talks to your hormones, to your brain, to your metabolism, to your nervous system. It changes how your entire body behaves. And once it reaches a certain point, your body begins protecting it, almost like it matters more than your survival itself. That's why some people lose weight, but their stomach never really changes. That's why you can exercise for months and still feel trapped inside the same body. Because this isn't just about calories anymore. This is biology becoming defensive, and most people never realize that. You probably think visceral fat is caused by overeating, too much junk food, too little exercise, a lack of discipline. But here's what nobody tells you. Visceral fat is often created by survival signals. Stress, poor sleep, chronic inflammation, constant cortisol spikes, emotional exhaustion. Your body stores visceral fat when it believes the environment is unstable. In modern life, it screams instability. Bright screens at midnight, ultra-processed food engineered to hijack dopamine, constant stress notifications, financial pressure, emotional burnout, sitting for 10 hours a day while your nervous system thinks it's under attack. Your body was never designed for this, so it adapts quietly. At first, it's subtle, a little more belly fullness, a little more fatigue after meals. You wake up tired. Cravings get stronger at night. Your energy crashes harder. Then something strange starts happening. You begin feeling hungry, even when your body has more than enough stored energy. And that's where the trap begins. Because visceral fat changes the hormonal conversation inside your body. Leptin, the hormone that's supposed to tell your brain you're full, starts getting ignored. Insulin levels stay elevated longer. Cortisol keeps signaling danger. Your metabolism shifts into conservation mode. It's like your body locks the pantry while screaming that you're starving. And emotionally, that destroys people. Because from the outside, it looks simple. Just lose weight. But inside your biology, a war is happening. Your brain thinks it's protecting you. Your fat cells think they're saving your life. And every failed diet becomes another signal that famine might be coming. That matters more than you think. Because visceral fat is deeply connected to survival memory. When you slash calories aggressively, your body doesn't celebrate. It panics. Your metabolism slows. Your hunger hormones rise. Energy drops. Recovery weakens. Sleep gets worse. And the body starts doing something almost cruel. It begins defending fat storage even harder, especially around the organs. Because biologically, visceral fat is emergency reserve energy. Your body believes it may need it later. So when people say, "My body refuses to lose belly fat," they're often telling the truth. Not emotionally, biologically. And this next part changes everything. Visceral fat is not passive tissue. It acts almost like an organ. It releases inflammatory chemicals directly into your bloodstream. Tiny chemical messengers that constantly whisper danger to your body. Day after day, year after year, your liver receives those signals first. Then insulin resistance begins creeping upward. Blood sugar control weakens. Energy production inside the mitochondria starts declining. And slowly, your entire metabolism becomes less flexible. Your body forgets how to efficiently burn stored fat. That's why some people feel exhausted the moment they try dieting. Their system has become metabolically trapped, like an engine flooded with the wrong fuel. And here's the disturbing part. You can look relatively normal and still carry dangerous amounts of visceral fat. This is why some people are technically skinny, but metabolically unhealthy, because visceral fat hides deep inside the abdominal cavity. You don't always see it immediately, but your organs feel it, your hormones feel it, your heart feels it, and eventually your brain feels it too, because inflammation doesn't stay isolated. It spreads. Memory gets foggy. Mood becomes unstable. Motivation crashes. People think they become lazy, but often their biology is exhausted. And modern habits make it worse in ways almost nobody talks about, especially stress. Stress is one of the most powerful visceral fat triggers on Earth. Not because stress magically creates calories, but because cortisol changes where fat gets stored and where energy gets prioritized. Imagine your body as an ancient survival machine. 10,000 years ago, chronic stress usually meant danger, famine, predators, war, environmental instability. So the body learned something very specific. Store energy close to the organs. Protect vital systems at all costs. That survival programming still exists inside you, but now the predator is different. Unread emails, sleep deprivation, financial anxiety, social comparison, constant stimulation. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference. So cortisol stays elevated, and your body responds exactly the way it was designed to, by preparing for survival. This is why people gain abdominal fat during emotionally difficult periods. Divorce, burnout, grief, chronic anxiety. The body becomes protective, defensive, hypervigilant, and most people blame themselves for it. But wait, here's the part almost nobody understands. Lack of sleep may be even worse. One bad night doesn't matter much, but chronic sleep deprivation, that changes your entire hormonal environment. Hunger hormones increase, cravings intensify, insulin sensitivity drops, cortisol rises earlier in the day, and your brain starts seeking fast dopamine for survival comfort. Sugary food, processed snacks, late night eating. Not because you're weak, because your brain is trying to rescue your energy levels. And visceral fat thrives in that environment, especially when combined with inactivity. Because sitting changes your biology too. Your muscles are not just for movement, they are metabolic engines. When muscles stay inactive for long periods, your body becomes worse at handling glucose. Fat burning efficiency declines, circulation weakens, and energy begins getting stored instead of used. That's why someone can work out for 1 hour, but remain metabolically unhealthy the other 23. And this is where the fitness industry confuses people the most, because they tell you to fight harder, more cardio, more restriction, more punishment. But aggressive fat loss often increases stress hormones further, which can make visceral fat even more stubborn, especially if recovery collapses. This is why some people lose weight everywhere, except their stomach. Their biology is defending the last survival reserve, and emotionally, that can feel hopeless. You start questioning yourself. Maybe your metabolism is broken. Maybe your genetics doomed you. Maybe nothing works anymore. But your body is not broken. It's adaptive. There's a difference. And once you understand that, everything starts changing. Because the solution to visceral fat is not starvation. It's metabolic safety. Your body must believe it is safe enough to release stored energy. Safe enough to stop defending itself. Safe enough to lower survival signaling. And that process begins much slower than most people expect. First comes sleep, not supplements, not detoxes, not fat-burning gimmicks. Sleep. Deep sleep lowers cortisol, improves insulin sensitivity, stabilizes hunger hormones, restores metabolic flexibility. 1 week of better sleep can change cravings dramatically. Most people underestimate how powerful that is. Then comes movement, not punishment. Movement, walking after meals, resistance training, light daily activity, muscle stimulation, simple things. But biologically, massive, because muscles absorb glucose like sponges. They reduce insulin demand. They improve mitochondrial function. And over time, your body slowly relearns how to access stored fat safely. That word matters. Safely, because when your body feels safe, fat becomes usable fuel again. And this next part is critical. Food timing changes more than people realize. Constant snacking keeps insulin elevated. Your body stays locked in storage mode, but allowing periods between meals gives your system time to shift fuel sources. Not extreme fasting, not starvation, just metabolic breathing room. Your body needs moments where insulin lowers enough for fat oxidation to increase. That's when visceral fat slowly becomes accessible again. And protein matters too. A lot, because protein protects muscle tissue during fat loss. And muscle preservation keeps metabolism stronger. But here's the mistake most people make. They try changing everything overnight. Extreme diets, 2-hour workouts, cutting entire food groups. And the body reacts like it's under attack again. That cycle keeps repeating. Stress, restriction, failure, guilt, rebound, over and over. But sustainable fat loss works differently. It feels almost boring at first. Consistent sleep, daily walking, strength training, stable meals, lower stress exposure, small signals of safety repeated consistently, and eventually, your body begins trusting the environment again. That's when visceral fat starts losing its grip, not through violence, through stability. And there's another hidden factor people ignore completely: loneliness. Chronic isolation changes stress biology too. Humans are social survival creatures. Your nervous system constantly scans for emotional safety. Connection matters biologically. People with stronger social support often regulate stress hormones better, which affects sleep, recovery, inflammation, even eating behavior. That's why emotional healing sometimes changes body composition more than another diet ever could. And honestly, that realization hits people hard, because many aren't overeating from hunger. They're exhausted, emotionally dysregulated, chronically stimulated, dopamine depleted. Food becomes relief, temporary calm, a nervous system sedative, and visceral fat quietly grows in the background while the body tries to survive modern life. That's why shame never works long-term. Self-hatred increases stress. Stress increases cortisol, and cortisol reinforces the exact biological state people are trying to escape. It becomes a loop, a brutal one. But once you understand the loop, you can interrupt it slowly, intelligently, compassionately. And this changes everything, because visceral fat is reversible, not instantly, not magically, but biologically. The body can recover. Inflammation can decrease. Insulin sensitivity can improve. Hormones can stabilize. Metabolism can become flexible again. The body wants balance. It was designed for adaptation. You just have to stop sending it constant survival signals. And one day, something strange happens. You wake up with more energy. Cravings become quieter. Your stomach feels less inflamed. Your sleep deepens. Your mind becomes clearer. The body starts cooperating again. Not because you won a war against yourself, but because the war finally ended. And maybe that's the biggest misunderstanding in modern fat loss culture. People think discipline means attacking the body harder. But real transformation often begins when the body finally feels protected enough to let go. Visceral fat is not simply stubborn fat. It's survival fat, protected fat, stress-responsive fat. And your metabolism is not lazy. It's defensive. Once you understand that, you stop seeing yourself as broken. You stop believing you failed because you lack willpower. You realize your biology was reacting exactly the way human biology has evolved to react for thousands of years. And honestly, that realization can feel emotional, because for the first time, the struggle makes sense. Your body was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to protect you, even if the protection eventually became harmful. And now, you can finally work with your biology instead of against it. That's how real change lasts. Quietly, gradually, deeply, not through punishment, but through rebuilding trust between your body and your environment. And when that trust returns, your metabolism changes, your energy changes, your relationship with food changes, even your identity changes, because you no longer see yourself as someone trapped inside a failing body. You become someone who understands the signals, someone who understands recovery, someone who understands survival biology. And that awareness alone can completely change the direction of your health. Follow Burn Lab YT for real fat loss science.